I always wonder, am I alone? And that's one of the great questions of humanity.
It's interesting because wherever we find liquid water on this planet, no matter whether it's those smokers, whether it's the acid baths of Yellowstone, there's something living in it. Do you think that it's highly likely that there is life somewhere underneath that icy surface? Is it likely to be a second Genesis?
The best minds in the scientific community believe there's life in the oceans of Europa because it contains 2 to 3 times more water than all the water on Earth. What we can see spectrographically of the water ice, frozen ice shell of Europa, we pick up salts, it's pure water ice. We've seen with the Hubble telescope giant plumes of water being blown into space on the south pole of Europa. We know that's true in the moon of Saturn, Enceladus, which is a free-floating ice shell over a worldwide ocean, where Cassini flew through the curtain plume on Enceladus and tested the snow and determined that it was salt water and it had been hydrothermally altered by being sucked into and ejected from the rocky bottom of Enceladus's ocean. This is going on in Europa, and there's increasing awareness in the scientific community that life may have originated on Earth at the bottom of the ocean on the hydrothermal vents because there's far more energy there, all the chemical elements of life are there, and it's a very stable, quiet environment, free from asteroid impacts or radiation from space. There are open crevasses in the ice of Europa that allow the ocean beneath to vent directly into space. They're going to work on landing near one of those crevasses. Who knows, maybe it's going to snow krill on top of the lander. They'll be able to directly measure snow, frozen salt water coming directly out of that ocean.
So a lot of people thought that the lander had to have that penetrating capability to be able to melt through the ice. You think there's enough data there at those crevasses that are off-gassing or water is coming out of them that you might not need to go beneath the surface?
You still need to go below the surface. You still need to get through the ice and down into the ocean with a submarine that is artificially intelligent, that's got the instrumentation on board when you reach the bottom to be able to image and sample what are undoubtedly black smokers like we have here on Earth, the hydrothermal vents. The mid-ocean ridges have these tremendous volcanic vents where superheated salt water is being ejected out of these vents, and they're loaded with all the chemical elements of life.
So as it stands right now, the Trump budget has a Europa Clipper mission with an orbiter but no lander, right?
That's just a recommendation.
So you're going for a lander?
The only way to know if there's life in that ocean is to touch down on the surface. We've seen that with the Mars missions. The only way to know what the chemistry of the surface of a planet is to touch down on the surface and test it. So the Europa orbiter and lander are already written into law. They're fully funded. It's already taken care of. The path forward is mapped out very carefully.
So if NASA doesn't do this, presumably some administrator could be arrested for breaking the law.
No, it doesn't work like that.
But it would be against the law, right?
The Europa orbiter and lander is the only mission it is illegal for NASA not to fly, because this is so important for the future of human history, for the future of the space program. It is in our DNA as humans, and it's what makes us American, to blaze new trails, to go where no one has gone before, and to make discoveries that will transform the history of humanity. I think that's who we are as Americans. It's what makes us great as a nation.